Lui è Tristano, simpatico, esemplare di canide dal manto grigio. Mentre lui è Andrea, simpatico ed eclettico, esemplare di essere umano dal manto riccioluto. Ciò che accomuna questi due meravigliosi esseri viventi è che sono entrambi i miei migliori amici. Da una parte abbiamo Andrea, con cui ho instaurato un rapporto profondo attraverso appunto il linguaggio verbale, mentre dall'altra parte invece abbiamo Tristano, che è il mio cane, con cui abbiamo instaurato sì un rapporto profondo, ma sicuramente il mezzo non è quello verbale. Però quando ci guardiamo ci capiamo perfettamente e da là mi è venuta questa domanda, questa curiosità: ma cosa succede tra noi e il nostro animale domestico? E si instaura questo legame senza neanche parlare la stessa lingua. Dopo essermi fatto questa domanda ho ricercato e un giorno Andrea mi chiama e mi dice: guarda, ho incontrato questa persona che è una comunicatrice professionale interspecie. Io comincio a guardare e vedo che a livello internazionale è riconosciuta e ho visto il suo documentario che ha più di 2 milioni di visualizzazioni e quindi incuriosito a un certo punto dico: voglio assolutamente incontrare questa persona. E quindi cosa ho fatto? Ho preso il primo volo per andare proprio a intervistare lei in persona insieme al mio amico Andrea e quindi vi lascio alla mia avventura. Ebbene sì ragazzuoli, sono atterrato qui a Maiorca per cercare appunto di scoprire il più possibile riguardo alla connessione invisibile che ci permette di instaurare legami profondi con i nostri amici animali. Per farlo incontreremo Anna Breytenbach, comunicatrice interspecie con più di 20 anni di esperienza sul campo. Laureata in psicologia ed economia e marketing all'Università di Città del Capo, Anna, trasferitasi negli Stati Uniti nella Silicon Valley per lavorare nel campo del marketing, scopre questa sua vocazione mentre frequenta alcune delle riserve naturali native americane. Un episodio in particolare però sarà il catalizzatore che farà da apriporta per sviluppare questo suo innato talento e questa sua sensibilità. Dopo aver completato uno speciale training all'Istituto Internazionale degli Animali della California, Anna inizia a collaborare a livello internazionale con riserve naturali, ambienti universitari, acquari. Collaborerà anche con ricerche scientifiche, riuscendo così a diventare un vero e proprio ponte tra il regno animale e gli esseri umani. Nella sua grande esperienza ha lavorato con tantissime specie di animali differenti, dai gatti domestici fino ai grandi felini della savana, dai cani fino ad arrivare ai lupi nelle riserve, fino a scimmie, balene, squali, calamari, delfini e moltissimi altri animali. Insomma, Anna è la portavoce vivente della connessione invisibile che fin dalla notte dei tempi lega l'uomo agli animali. Ed ora ragazzi, mettetevi comodi, respirate profondamente e preparatevi ad entrare nel mondo invisibile della comunicazione interspecie attraverso Anna. Un incontro che potrebbe cambiare il modo in cui guardiamo ogni forma di vita che vive in questo pianeta.
Let's remember English properly now. So, thank you so much for being here, or just have us here. It was a very pleasure. Very emotional now. I feel like the responsibility, conveying your message to the world. Let's start with the first question. What does an animal communicator do? Just how it works practically.
Well, maybe I can start by saying what an animal communicator is not. So it's not an animal psychologist. It's not an animal behaviorist who observes physical behavior and then applies some good knowledge of that species or so on to try to figure out mentally what is causing the animal's behavior or how they are feeling. This interspecies communication, animal communication, is a lot more direct. We just go sort of straight to the horse's mouth, you know, so to speak. We tune in directly with the animal, energetically or on a quantum energy level. And then if we are clear and open ourselves, we can sense what their emotional state is, or even their physical body, how they are feeling on their body by having corresponding feelings on our body as the human. And when I, the human, ask questions silently in my mind into that space of connection, the animal understands the nature of my inquiry and my care and my interest. And they can then show me their truth or their, answer, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So it's really fantastic for anything where you're trying to understand an animal better or find out the root cause for some behavior or some medical problem. You can literally ask them, what's making you do that? Mm-hmm. Instead of just sitting in observation as a disconnected human and trying to interpret body language. It's very direct.
They're not able to communicate.
Yes, exactly. They can't communicate it in our spoken languages, but the pure energy of how they're thinking and feeling, because even thoughts are electromagnetic realities and have, wave and amplitude and energetic reality. Their thoughts, their feelings are what we can pick up energetically in a language older than words. Mm-hmm. It's before any kind of language. It's just pure quantum, which is shared between all beings.
It's more about emotions and it's more, it's not language. It's not you convey language, just you translate language. Yep. It's not a translation.
No.
It's like a how can I say, kind of alchemy.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
It is. It's very holistic, and it's very difficult to even talk about as a process because it's not a mechanical process. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm asking a dog, how do you feel about having leg surgery? I've had this happen a few times where a dog is facing a very serious surgery, let's say an amputation of the leg. I say, how do you feel about that? The answers that I'm getting from the animal might appear as words in my mind in English, my mother tongue, but it doesn't mean the dog is choosing to answer me in English.
Okay.
They're just showing me their fear or their concern. Or one dog that I asked about having amputation, they were like, fine, whatever, take the leg off.
Like this?
Yeah, seriously, like who needs 4 legs anyway?
Doesn't mind,
doesn't mind at all, quite casual. 4 legs is plenty,
But do animals figure it out? Just when you start communicating with them, just do you feel that they perceive like weird that a human being can just communicate? Do you perceive that you figure it out, that you understand and you can communicate with him?
Yes, and when I make myself still and quiet and empty, and before starting a communication, they don't think it's strange, like can humans do this? But they are a bit surprised because it's so rare. It's so unusual for humans to care to connect from this heart space with them and really want to see them as they are. So they're a bit surprised and a bit relieved, like, oh, finally someone's really willing to see what I'm really thinking and feeling. But to them, it's completely natural. It's completely natural. It happens out there in the wild the whole time. Yeah.
And do you catch the difference between their gazing, just their way that, they look at you when you...
Yeah, it can be. One should not expect that they behave differently or stare at you or something. It depends on their species culture. And likewise, for me to connect with an animal, it's probably a very bad idea for me to stare into their eyes. We humans think that means, connection, but for most animals, that can be quite a threatening and aggressive thing to do. But they will tend to go much more calm and quiet, maybe more soft in the eyes, more gentle in their bodies, yes, because they're relaxing into the communication space.
Nice. And when did you discover your talent?
I was already in my early 30s and I was living in America on the West Coast, in fact, in a very mental job working in Silicon Valley and IT, very mentally stimulating. But I've always had a passion for big cats and conservation and so on. So I spent my free time trying to learn about these things. And I enrolled in a tracking course to learn how to follow footprints and understand, even though the animal's not there, understand what happened when they walked through, the riverbank at the nighttime or something. And because I grew up in South Africa, not in America where I was living, I didn't understand. I mean, most perfect footprint in mud. I still didn't have a clue what animal that could be. And the tracking instructor said to me, well, close your eyes and hold your hand above the track and see what happens. And I thought, you're crazy. I mean, now you want me to close my eyes? I need to try and figure this out. But I had no better idea, so I did that. And immediately I got some mental images coming of a sort of a wild dog species, not big like a wolf, not small like a fox, more grey than brown. And I saw this whole mental image and my eyes flew open in surprise. And I described this to the instructor. He said, yes, well done. That is a coyote's footprint. And I said, what's a coyote? I didn't know then it was a wild dog species. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So then I thought something very strange is going on. How can I get information directly from a track, So I did my research because I was still quite scientific and I wanted to understand this better. So I looked into the quantum physics and the new physics of it and began to understand that the energetic imprints or using intention to tune in and become connected was something that, in fact, never mind science explaining it, in fact, the indigenous peoples around the world have grown up with. Every person in an indigenous tribe is talking with the animals, and
they consider them like guardians.
Guardians, protectors, allies. They consider animals and plants as strong allies. And before, if they were really, really hungry and needed to find food, the night before, they would go into this deep prayer communication with the collective consciousness of the deer or the elk and explain their human need with humbleness and with respect and say, please, for our winter, we really ask that we have some of your flesh, if you're willing to give it, that we may survive. And if it's right, could you tomorrow please show us, lead us somewhere to where your footprints are? And if one of your kind is willing to give their lives that we may be nourished and eat, we ask with respect that will be possible. And they would go through the same process for harvesting plants, for looking for berries or fruits or roots to eat. They did not regard animal life as more important than plant life. The same reverence and the same respect. Sing to the trees, greet the flowers, be kind to the worms and the insects. This was a natural part of everyday life.
It's a system, it's always, the whole world is a system, And you talk about collective unconscious. As a psychologist, because you have a psychology degree, right? How did your degree and your previous studies just make you feel about this?
Well, I was always very interested in the psychology of perception. What really happens inside the human brain when we are perceiving something? Unfortunately, that degree in psychology, I also majored in marketing and economics, which was all about using psychology to manipulate perception.
Because it's a very different approach. It's another side of the world.
Completely. It's all about understanding perception. Then you try and manipulate. I joined an advertising agency after graduating. I resigned after 3 months because I thought I don't want to try to manipulate how people are thinking. But nonetheless, the psychology of perception. And I was very interested in the work of Carl Jung, who does speak about this collective, the collective unconscious, which we humans have too, and to pay attention to the other ways in which information comes. For example, when we are physically asleep, that our dream state can be very informative. Sure, part of it is us just processing our stuff. We need to, our emotions and so on. But it's also a place where our waking mind isn't running the show, and our wider awareness can be more open. And a couple of times a year, I get incoming messages spontaneously from the collective consciousness of a certain group of animals who are seeking assistance or who are in real trouble. And when I'm asleep, I receive those messages, and they feel different in quality than a dream of mine, you know. And then I would wake up, for example, this happened some years back. I had this call for help from 21 whales. They said, we are 21 pilot whales. 21 whales. They showed me they are pilot whales. They said, please help. We are in a confined space. We're dying. Please help, like help, help, help. It doesn't mean they were, you know, dialing me. They didn't know me, but their distress is this signal. It's a strong signal. And I just happened to be receptive enough, maybe because of my other work with whales. There's a heart connection, a kinship with whales. And I asked my friend and colleague to research, you know, to look online on the news and everything. And it took her 3 days to find an article about whales. And on the coast of Japan.
So you felt it, and then you do the research.
Yeah, then I do the research, try to find out where they are in case some practical help can come into the equation. Oh. And 3 days later, there was an article about 16 whales, 16 pilot whales that had been caught by the...
So it was real?
It was real, yeah.
Is it an endangered species?
Not an endangered species, but they are hunted in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So with the 6 months of dolphin hunting that happens every year in Tai Chi in Japan, infamously known as the Cove, that a documentary was made about, they also on occasion apparently catch pilot whales. I didn't know this. And the article said 16 whales. So I said to Jessie, no, that's not the right group, because in the nighttime it was 21. 21 said, help us. So she kept looking, and eventually 2 days later, the update to the article came from Sea Shepherd Conservation Organization, saying that 21 whales had been caught, but 5 had died, leaving 16 survivors. So then I understood that it was those whales. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is, wow, amazing.
It seems mysterious, but when one is sort of plugged into the web of life, any moment can bring a feeling of instinct inside you, a feeling of instinct, or to look up and to notice that, you know, animal, that the bird that's stuck on the windowsill or something.
What is most remarkable is the precision. 21, yes,
right.
you already know, you know.
Yeah, and that clarity and that precision, I must say, is the most difficult thing amongst animal communicators. And with animal communicators, there's a whole continuum. There's, you know, the Hollywood pet psychics and those who are using intermediaries like crystals or pendulums or other animal guides or spirit guides or channels or mediums. There are those who are trying to use it to make animals do what we want, you know. But honestly, to be really clear in your intuition requires a lot of work on oneself. Yeah. And so the more you can sort of clean the channel that you are to receive information, then the greater your chance of being accurate and more precise. Yeah.
And have you ever feel, I don't know, the judgment of people about it, or skepticism? Or
yes.
How do you deal with it? And how did you overcome, you know, because if you do it like for like a mission in your life, how did you do that?
Well, I still get lots of hate mail. It's amazing. Yeah, some of it's quite funny, and if one takes it with that sense of humor, you know.
People with plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really, plenty of time, plenty of imagination. You should see some of the things that they're wishing for me. It's really worthy of a horror movie. The most awful deaths and all sorts of things. You know, it's quite intense. It's an intense energy to receive. In the first few years, I took it quite personally. I became shy to speak about certain topics that were maybe more, you know, tricky. But yeah, the truth is everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I understand it more now because people are so challenged by this. You know, we humans have become so separate that if we acknowledge our real connection and the sentience and self-awareness of the more than human world, if we really acknowledge that, we're going to have to question so many things about our paradigm and about our habits. Like where we just walk into the supermarket and grab that piece of meat that's lived a horrible life in a factory farm, you know. How we are putting poisons down our kitchen sink, you know, the cleaning products we use, the being too lazy to recycle and all of these things. So to confront that opens up a huge well of grief in us humans, and most people can't go there. I also stopped making it a mission to try to convince people or have more people have to see things this way. There's no reason for someone to believe what I say. And I believe that the only real way to gain knowledge is to experience something, to have an experience. Then the knowledge is really from within, and it is integrated. But along the way of working on myself more, spiritually, to become less reactive to things, I came across this path I've been on for about 20 years now of non-duality. The non-duality or Advaita Vedanta, and really, really engaging with this feeling of oneness with all life, oneness with my own essence, with source. And
even curiosity.
Exactly. There's a curiosity, there's a sense of the balance of everything and the innate intelligence and wisdom of everything. And so when things go pop here or there, or there's criticism, it's just an opinion. And to be very honest, praise is also just an opinion. Negative criticism is one opinion, and positive feedback is another opinion. And both of them are just opinion. All I'm asked to do by life is to just be true to what I feel, what is most authentic. Doesn't mean it's perfect. I'm always growing as well. But if I can just be authentic to where I am at the moment. And the last thing to say about this topic is that I learned a lot about becoming more compassionate towards humans from the animals.
They teach us a lot of compassion.
They really do. There's so many animals that could rise up. They could rise up and trample us to death or bite us to death, and they don't, So they have such compassion for our wrongdoings, and they've taught me to be more compassionate towards humans as well.
They teach us a lot of compassion. That's my dog. Imagine my dog. Of course. Let's see. Do you have any advice for people to reach a better understanding of their own animal, their own pet?
Yes.
Just maybe some exercises just to make a connection.
Well, firstly, it's good to mentally stop relating to them only as you currently see them. Stop relating to them as just a companion in the household or your expectations that you have from them. I suggest spending some quiet time just letting them be themselves. Really let them be themselves without you even interacting or playing or taking them for a walk. Just let them be themselves. Sit quietly in their company. And it can be helpful to even close your eyes, because then you're not having your sense of vision busy give you ideas for your mind to think about. Sit quietly in the presence of your animal, close your eyes. And a good way to become present, which is what is required, a good way to become present is to look at your breath. To just focus on your breath, your natural breathing rhythm, the in and the out. And the in and the out is a wonderful anchor to be fully here, to be present. And then perhaps have a question in your mind, but as much in your heart. And you could have that question as a feeling in your heart, like a genuine care and interest, even in your own animal who you know so well.
It's also a matter of intention. They feel the intention.
They feel the intention that comes with the question, but they feel your intention to connect, and that beautiful sort of friendship vibe that comes from it. So it's important to ask a very general question, maybe, because there might be anything they want to show you. Don't say, "Are you happy?" because they may say no. It doesn't mean they're sad. They could be, hungry or sleepy. So you could just maybe with your eyes closed, just ask, "How are you feeling?" Or, "Is there anything you would like me to know?" And here comes the tricky part, because they have received the question for sure. They understand the energy of it. Don't keep asking it. Ask it once. And the tricky part is to stay still and quiet. Just sit with yourself, including your own thoughts that come and go, and yet you resist. Just sit long enough and notice which impressions stay or come back. Give yourself several minutes of just sitting quietly, and you don't expect the answer to come like, da, 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 this is my answer. It'll be the more quiet, soft, subtle thing, to connect with them in that way. And then back in more, sort of ordinary five sensory ways, be careful of not assigning your own animals some role that is actually a bit inferior to you. Like, oh, my little boy, my little girl, that's quite, you're putting yourself above them.
Yeah, as we told before.
Yeah, exactly. Like this adult, self-aware being is not your child, They
In
don't
Italian,
have that role.
there's no difference between animal and pet. Only in
Okay.
English.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love what you said earlier over lunch. You said it's important to allow pets to be animals. Let them be animals.
It's my small experience with my dog.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let them be who they are in their species body, but in their individual personality as well. I often get asked, how do dogs feel about something? Or why do horses do that? I'm like, that's a crazy question. Ask that individual horse. Ask that individual dog.
Because they're different.
Totally.
They're different among horses. Their personalities.
Completely, and they've got preferences and emotional concerns and conditioning and patterns and wishes and wants. Yeah.
I like this. I would like people to just behave, just behave better with animals, with their own animals. Yes. Don't consider them like a human being. But nowadays the demographic there's a kind of demographic crisis around the world, just in Japan as well, in Italy as well, and people tend to consider animal like children, like their own son, their own, this is kind of
it's not
doesn't
great.
Work, right?
It doesn't work. It's a lot of projection onto the animal, and it's assigning them a human role that doesn't allow them to be the adult, dog or the adult cat with all of the wisdom that they bring. And another thing that is happening a lot in the last 10 years or so in the digital age is that we are not present, even on a practical level, with our animals. For those who go out to work or to school or to do things, they come home and they're still on their devices. They're not present. And it's been shown and proved by veterinarians around the world that pets are becoming so depressed. Because even when their person is home, they're not there. The body's an empty shell, looking at Netflix or scrolling through the devices. Maybe while you're scrolling, you're petting the dog, but you're not there. Your hand is just going da. And the animal's looking to you for connection. Even just 5 minutes of being with them. Doesn't have to be interacting, but they wait all day. First of all, they trust us enough to even give up their ability to feed themselves, the most basic need. They trust that you will come home to give them food. If you don't, they could starve to death, as does happen if people don't come home for some unfortunate reason. So they give us that much trust to give over their most basic self-determining right. And then we come home and we're absent. We are the ghosts in the machine. And the animals are sitting there with this ghost of a person, unfulfilled, depressed, and unacknowledged, not related to. So I beg you, spend some time every day with the animal companions in your life. You have a relationship with them, and they are so beneficial for you. At least give something back, just your time.
Yeah, and I had the experience with the previous dog I had. That dog was very close to my grandpa, and so when wherever my grandpa went, just he chased.
Oh yeah.
And I remember that one day my grandpa got ill, and the same illness of my grandpa just was passed to the dog. Just my grandpa got a problem with prostate problem, and my dog had it.
Wow.
My grandpa turned death, and the same dog they're so close. They were so close that they help each other. I don't know.
Yes.
It works like this. I don't know.
It does. It absolutely does. Even very mainstream vets will acknowledge this. They're like, not only physical issues, but even emotional issues that might be playing out in a family or something. Then the dog will start to show the symptoms of it, or the cat. Now, it can be for one of two reasons. When now, the last several years, I only work with wildlife. But when I used to do pet consultations, I would find this a lot of the time. And sometimes the animal takes on some of the stuff energetically because they are over-identified with the person. Like over-identified with the person and rely on them for their, reason for existence. And then it's not healthy for the animal. But other times it's out of this absolute love and service and connection, and they are sharing the burden. They're taking some of it to process through their bodies so that the burden is shared and maybe both can heal.
Do you think it's a matter of unconditional love?
Yeah.
Does they feel so much close to this person that they want to sacrifice for them?
Yes. Yeah, it is this unconditional love. It's an absolute... it's a sharing of the energy in the field, and it's also a lack of selfishness. Yeah, we humans might tend to be like, and pull back from things, and animals, without exception, have this amazing capacity to be with what is, to just be with it as it is.
So do they act for big purpose?
Yeah, well, insofar as any act is actually for the big purpose. Any act of any being in any moment, and for that matter, every thought on a quantum level, is like dropping a stone into the great sea of life. And where you drop the stone, maybe it has the biggest, the biggest impact and the biggest waves, but the ripples go out. These concentric rings go out and out and out into infinity, indefinitely. So everything actually affects the collective. And the non-humans are very much aware of kind of just showing up in support of life and being moved by life, quite spontaneously being moved by life. So they don't have this, personal goal to have to try and cause a certain outcome. But by nature, as they respond to life and what's in front of them and being helpful or processing things, they are in service. I don't really feel personally that there is a difference between a small and a big act of kindness, or a small purpose and a great purpose. I don't believe in size or importance difference myself. Everything is just this dynamic creative force, experiencing itself.
I would like to just connect this what we are talking about with the experience you had with spirit, with the black leopard, about how animal can, how can I say, can be affected by the people projection.
Can
you talk about it?
Yeah. So Spirit was a black leopard who had been rescued from a breeding center after being in a zoo, and black leopard, very unhappy with his situation and what was being demanded of him, and of course he was trying to give pushback. He was trying to say, no, I don't want to be this zoo animal or this the show animal. And the only way he could do that, no one could ever touch him. He's a leopard. He's not tame. You could never go near him. You would lose your life. So the only way he could express his dissatisfaction and his anxiety and stress is by being, fierce from the other side of the fence. No. And in the end, he just refused to come out. He refused to come out of the little concrete night shelter. And his name had been given Diablo, meaning Satan or the devil. He'd been given the name Diablo because he was so fierce and so angry. But he was angry because of his situation and because he was being expected to be a show cat and to be all, out there. And when we use a name for an animal, it's not that the animal cares about the language of the name, but the energy that comes with it. It's just like the words in mantra. The words in mantra have an energy, and they have an association and energy frequency. So when people were calling him Diablo and saying, oh, he's so fierce and so angry, be careful, so dangerous, all of this reinforces it, exactly. It reinforces, and this is all that is getting dumped on him, and he's not being given a chance to be seen for who he really is. And when I asked him, like, show me who you are, there was just this very large, infinite being, just this essence of an animal living in a very stressed situation under the pressure of expectations as well, and all this negative association with him. And when I gave that feedback to the keepers, they in a moment realized, wow, they had unintentionally been making his situation worse by continuing to describe him this way. And so they said, that's it, we're going to have no expectations of him. We're terribly sorry that he has to live in confinement the rest of his life at this rescue sanctuary. It's the only option for him to be alive is in this scenario. He was born in a zoo, he can't live in the wild. But we're going to completely change our policy. He doesn't have to come out. We don't care if he never comes out, never seen by people, like whatever he wants within that enclosure, you know. And we're going to change his name. We realize now Diablo and devil is just, you know, hammering him with the same negative thoughts. So they chose to call him Spirit because I'd given the feedback that he is just this large spirit. And that afternoon, he came out. The very thing they had stopped asking of him, he relaxed and he came out to acknowledge and give thanks for being allowed to be himself. Yeah.
It turns like a good cat.
yeah, exactly.
It turns into a good cat. Yeah, and I remember the documentary, and I'd advise people to watch the documentary. Sure. It's from 2013.
Yes,
right?
That's right. 2013. Yeah. The title is The Animal Communicator. Yeah.
I remember Spirit was I think not afraid, but was worried about other cubs.
Yes. When I was asking him, inquiring a lot about his well-being, he's like, well, you know, never mind me. He said, I'm very worried about 2 leopard cubs that were sisters, 2 female leopard cubs who used to be in the next door enclosure to me at the previous place. You know, cubs meaning they were still quite small. And when I gave that feedback to the keepers at the present sanctuary, they were like, oh my gosh, now we believe in animal communication, because we didn't even think about that. But when we went to fetch him, indeed, there were 2 leopard cubs next door to him. So they went to try to find out, you know, what happened to them. They were told that those 2 leopards are now grown up and they're at a good zoo and they're fine. And I gave that feedback to Spirit. But amazingly, a few years later, it just so happened that this sanctuary was given to leopards because the zoo was closing down. They didn't realize it was the same zoo. And those leopards came to this very sanctuary where they recognized each other. Spirit and these 2 recognized each other. And leopards are solitary cats. They don't hang out together. It's crazy. If you put 2 leopards together, they will fight until one or both of them is dead, for sure. So there was no way. I mean, they had them in separate enclosures with a whole corridor between them, so they couldn't even fight across the same fence. But they seemed quite friendly, and they were like, oh, something's going on here. And that's when I interviewed all 3 cats, and they all said, we are those ones, we know each other. And against all the professional advice, they put them together in the same enclosure, and they were able to live happily. Yeah.
But was it easy to connect with Diablo? So it was it's a predator, right?
Yeah.
So it is different. There's difference between, I don't know, a predator mind, if we can say mind, or I don't know, a prey mind.
No difference. Practically, they'll be living different lives. Like animals who are food for other animals who are prey will be a lot more alert and sensitive to sounds and so on. But no, telepathically, there's no sort of one like imprint or something on predator versus prey. It's as easy to connect with a small prey animal as a very large predator, or even a tiny animal, you know, tiny crab in the sea. There's no difference in the fullness of the being that they are.
So are they aware they are part of balancing the nature?
Yeah.
Just prey and predator.
Yeah, not even so. That's quite a human idea, this linear idea of predator and prey. It's a human classification. Predators are also food for life, even if they don't get eaten. When they die, their body decomposes, and that's go back to giving life to the earth and to the plants that grow that get eaten by the buffalo or the deer. So they understand that everything and all energy is just recycled. So predators know that they too are food for the others. It just takes a bit longer because they have to die first.
Yeah, that's a good point of view. It's very different because, you know, our mind tends to, you know, label everything. You know?
Yeah, and this is why I've yet to experience an animal who is afraid of, death, physical death, because they don't see it as an absolute end to everything. It's just a transition in a state of being. You are a being with a body, and then you're a being without a body. Yeah.
Nice. So, returning to the pet area.
Yes, yeah.
Do you think pets are, I don't know, if they agree with euthanasia, or when they feel very ill, that the body cannot take life anymore, do they feel comfortable with euthanasia? How do you perceive pets? I don't know. Do you have any experience to tell? Or
yeah, I've had lots of consultations where the question of euthanasia, helping an animal leave their body is on the table, and it depends on the animal if they want it or not. Quite frankly, many pets are kept alive longer than would be natural because of medicine and medical interventions that are possible, and pharmaceuticals, and they don't judge that. And so too, a medication to help leave the body is just, they don't judge it as a bad thing. But whether they want it or not will depend on the animal. It depends where they are in their journey, and do they feel they have fulfilled, what they're here to do? How much pain are they in or not? And the way euthanasia is quite a sort of abstract concept. So the way I describe it to an animal when I'm offering that option is say, would you like assistance in leaving the body? That's what it is. And they'll say yes, no, maybe, or not yet. Or they'll say, yes, I'll give a sign when I'm ready, like really stopping to eat for a couple of days and so on. And the question comes whether the animal's guardian or person should be with them when they're getting the lethal injection or euthanasia. I would recommend yes, if you can stand it without being completely hysterical, then be with them. They will understand your sadness, and you need to be willing to let them go and tell them, I'm willing to let you go, and they'll understand you're going to be sad, but they would just love your company, your presence in the room with the vet, that familiarity and that support to see them, through the journey. But if you're going to be completely hysterical and attached and upset, then better not, because you will make them emotionally very upset in their last moments. Yeah.
Do animals have sense of humor? Just we finish with
exactly. On the light note,
positive,
They, when they learn about how humans operate, they can often engage with us with a sense of humor. They won't lie or make up a false truth or to play a trick as such, but they do have a sense of fun and joy, and a sense of humor, and they like playing and stalking, even with a human, playing a game of cat and mouse or chasing and
tennis balls.
Totally, No, they love it. And the kinds of animals that really do have a sense of humor in particular are some of the primate or the monkey species, the troops of monkeys.
They make jokes.
Yeah, they make jokes. They'll run up and pull another one's tail and run away again.
I remember in Thailand they try to stall things everywhere.
They really will. They'll happily do something or put something odd on their head and then sort of go walking around like, look at this. A lovely, curious, fun sense of playfulness.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure, really.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Just welcome us here.
Always a pleasure. And great. May the viewers really, you had great questions to help people relate to this and relate to their pets in a way that helps them have more full, wonderful connections. So thank you.
That's something that I really feel with my dog. So I would like people can, have a better relationship with their own pet. Do you want to talk about your book or something that is
I can just mention that I'm on a book writing sabbatical so for the rest of this year, being 2025, and when it's eventually published.
The stories that you told about Spirit is part of this.
The leopards, him reuniting with the leopards is in the book, but the book is generally just stories from my consultation career, wildlife and domestic. And it's not a teaching book. It's not how to. There's so much of that good material out there already. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's just stories from the consultation career showing what the animals had to say about their situation and some changes that came about, in the hopes that this will make it more real and more accessible for people. And maybe their hearts are moved by these animal characters who came forward with their, wisdom. It helps us understand them as diverse and fully, sentient, self-aware beings. When the book is eventually published next year, the ebook and audiobook are going to be, completely free to anyone who wants it. Free,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. And then, who knows about a print version? There's obviously printing costs, but that comes a bit later.
So the book will be available in which platform?
I'm being supported by a UK-based charity,
Okay.
so it'll be available on their sort of library, and then through the usual methods as well. The usual places for ebooks and audiobooks. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. It
Great.
was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice.
Yay!
Cool, yay! Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed
Can
it.
I hug
good.
you?
Of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. Very nice and natural. Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't want to exploit, I would like to just
sure.
really just continue because the time is not flying.